Hi everyone, Angus Campbell here. It's Wednesday the 21st of January 2026. It's time. Right, we're going to have a slight break with respect to Rob's Rocket 3. We know what we're going to do with the crank and things on that, so I'll reveal all next week because we're picking something up at the weekend, but that's just a little teaser. So I want to get going with this because I want to take the wheels in to get rebuilt and the hubs painted, etc., and get on with that while we've got other things on the go in the garage, so at least things are moving along. And I want to try and get this done if possible for the NEC Classic Motor Show in the autumn. So we need to get cracking. I mean, if we don't make it, we don't make it, but let's see what we can do. As you know, just a reminder, I've been collecting parts for a while. I got quite a lot of new old stock stuff courtesy of the kind Chris. So I don't think once we get cracking it'll take too long. We're going to do it in dove grey rather than black. I've got the powder for that already because we had some specially made up for the A70 Lightning when I restored that, and it's a perfect match to the Show Fury which we used. So we'll get cracking. Now, I said that we might try a first start on this, but first, to do that, we need to check, what's in there at the moment. Firstly, from the point of view of seeing if the electric works, and I haven't got a battery here with me today, but I'll be able to pick one up this afternoon. And from the B50SS, more later. And the second thing is we need to see what's inside the engine oil wise and what state it's in. If it's if it's dirty, filthy black or whatever, I'm not going to do it, because we'll need to clean out the frame, oil tanks, oil cavities, etc., and everything, and we'll just get on with the restoration. The other thing to note initially as well is that under here, you can just see it. The second lever is the valve lifter stroke decompressor, and that doesn't work. You can't pull the lever, it's tight. But the engine does kick over quite freely. There is some compression there, but not a lot. But then, I'd think the barrel's probably dry. The other interesting thing to note, really, to be honest, is we know that the fuel tank's scrap. But you'll notice that the fuel line isn't discoloured and doesn't have the proper terminators on it, so that's been replaced at a later time in its life. And just to remind you again, after previous sort of introductory videos on it, it is all bog standard and original, except for the fact that the red areas on the tank and the front mudguard have been repainted because probably they faded badly. But we've got a beautiful new old stock replacement tank, because this one is badly dented just here, a massive dent there. It's in poor condition, and it's had the taps turned round at the back, and it's a pretty rough job, to be honest. Tank's been lined. That was probably done then when the tank was repainted. The red was repainted with the wrong colour. So replacing the front mudguard is rusted and pitted, which is a shame. Now, because this is a re-imported export, B50SS. Then it has the black front brake plate and the black stripe on the front mudguard. The replacement new old stock front mudguard I've got is the white stripe, which was for the home and general export market. But what I'm thinking of doing there is I've got some Fablon, which is with the factory stuck on top of the red. I've got some black Fablon, so I'm thinking of cutting out a strip and just layering it over the top, and that way we don't damage the integrity of the paint or anything underneath. What's interesting about this guard is, look at that, this is factory. That's a bit short, so we'll put an extra bit on. Right, so what we're going to do first on this is we'll take the tank off, because just to see why the decompressor isn't working, and then at the same time I'm going to take off the bash plate, because we need to get to the fittings, etc., to drain the oil out of the engine, and because I'm sure it'll have sumped a load, and out of anything that's remaining in the frame. There is another drain, as you know from the B50SS videos, at the back of the frame underneath the seat. I shan't worry about that too much for now. Let's just see what the state of the oil is that we get out. Okay, enough babbling on, let's crack on. Right, tank off, and you won't be able to see this very well, but where are we? There it is. Right, just there underneath the cable spring is the top of the arm, and it's the cable's popped out. Don't know why, but it's awkward to get at. I'll just check first to see if that arm's moving. Try and get a bit of a wider view so you're not glaring too much. You might just be able to see the top of the arm with the slot in it for the cable. The cable's popped out. That's why the spring's the wrong side and all sorts. Right, let's investigate. Right, we're making progress, and I'm very encouraged, to say the least. Right, as we expected, there's oil in the sump. It's got the bash plate off okay. Found a hose clip trapped in the bash plate. Now, the oil looks black, but it's not. Look at that. That's an old oil catch container that I use, and it was a bit dirty in the bottom. I'm not intending to reuse this oil, obviously, but the oil's as clean as a whistle, and there's nothing on the dipstick, which I expected, but if I just grab the torch for you. Look how clean that is in there. And it is all the way down. So that's great news. Very encouraging. So we'll let that pee away for a while. We'll take the oil out of the gearbox as well. What I'm intending to do today as well is obviously take the wheels off. Got the cable off at the top here, no problem at all. It's the original cable, look, with the grease nipple in it. So we'll try and save things like that. But anyway, I'm encouraged that I think this engine is going to be nice and clean inside. Yeah, very positive. Right, what we're cracking on with, this this decompressor. Let's do a bit of pointing. So what's happened is that inside the spring, just there, just look there, inside that spring there, that silver thing you can see inside the spring there, that's the ferrule that's come out. So this spring needs to be slid over that, and the ferrule put the other side of the arm, which you can just see. There you go, which you can just see underneath there. Sorry, it's not a very good shot, but there's not a lot of room. So I'll try and move it up, but I'm not confident I'm going to get this done without taking the head steady off, unfortunately. But anyway, let's plough on with what we're doing. Let that pee while I have a cup of tea. And then what I've got is this didn't come with the main stand. Main stands were optional extra on these, as was the tacho, which is why it hasn't got a tacho. I have got both those items for when we build it up. But in the meantime, what I've done, because I'll need it for when I take the Rocket 3 off the stand, is I've invested in a mini stand. So for now, what we'll do is we'll put the B50 up on that. Right, cup of tea while that's peeing, then we'll come back and we'll see what's in the gearbox. Right, I've undone the main union from the bottom of the front down tube, oil reservoir, and as suspected, that's empty, so that's what's emptied into the sump. But obviously that's not all the oil, because at the back of the top tube and underneath the seat there's more oil there, but we'll leave that there for now. So I'll just put that back on there for now, and then we'll get her up on the stand so I can take the wheels off. Right, she's held up on the stand, which seems to be working well, so the back wheel's off the ground so we can get this off. So just making a note of everything down here, like the early rear brake arms were pointing down and not up. So I need to, just thought of a problem straight away really. Once I take the brake rod adjuster off, I won't be able to get the brake rod out because I can't push the pedal down because the stand's in the way. Oh, joy of joys. I might have to take the brake arm off, actually. That might be the better way of doing it. Okay, anyway, let's get this lot undone. The split link for the chain is just there, so we can get that undone. Off we go. Okay, wheel out. The spindle hadn't been out in a long while, but it came out okay. As I say, yeah, what I did was I took the brake arm off, which was simple enough, and then everything came away okay. The speedo drive came off all right. Everything looks in pretty good nick, to be honest. It's just corroded, but anyway, what we'll need to do now is to where are we? There we go. Brake plate and brake shoes. Shoes look fine, but obviously I have to take all this lot off to get that powder coated. Okay, cracking on. There you go, 2 minutes later, all done. But I just wanted to point out that the brake lever spindle, which has a little grease nipple, has never probably been greased in its life. Dry as a bone. Right, got the 5 bolts out that hold on the sprocket. Sprocket's in pretty good nick actually. Oh my god, they were pig, they were rusted solid. But got them out in the end. Right, that's the rear wheel ready to go with its, excuse me, sniffing, brake plate. Well, I missed a bit out, quite a lot out there, but basically got the wheels out fine. There we go. Unstripped them to the extent where we can get them in for rebuilding, and for the hubs and brake plates to be blasted and powder coated. I was over at the other unit. I'm just trying to think what I've done with it. Yep, and I've got the front wheel out the B50SS as well. So that's in the car, it's going to go at the same time, but I did, more importantly, get its battery. So the next job will be to hook it up on the B50, and we'll test out the electrics and the spark, etc. The original battery that came with this, I tried to revive it. Absolutely bloody no chance, but that was a little while ago. Okay, I'll bring you back in a couple of days or so, and we'll carry on playing. Right, next job then is to get the battery fitted, and also we'll drain the oil out of the rear end of the spine. So we need to take the seat and the side panels off. So side panels, just one Zeus fastener, and it's on 2 pins at the back here. The poor old rubbers will probably be perished. We need those these off anyway to respray them. I'm going to respray those. I've got the paint. And those are the only panels we'll have to do ourselves, because we've got 2 new mudguards and tank. So that'll be a pretty easy job. And then to remove the seat, we've got to undo the rear shock mounts, because it's the seat bracket is held on at the back of this bolt on each side. That's easy enough to undo. So let's get those components off, and then we'll have a look in and before we drain the oil. By the way, this newish stand that I've got, be very careful what you buy. It's working, but it's sloppy. So the trouble is the bike can rock backwards and forwards on it, because the pins, etc. on it are not very tight. Right, as you were, I'm talking absolute rubbish with respect to the seat mounting. It's not like the Rocket 3, where the bracket is clamped with the top shock bolts and nuts. It's actually clamped separately on the frame, here and here, just by nuts on, where are we, studs, there we go. Which is why in the parts book I couldn't find a rear bracket here, because there isn't one, and I should have known that from the B50SS, which is the same. Right, I've got the battery on. I've taken the old plug out, which was rubbish. Put a new plug on there, because in a minute we'll test a few electrics. But firstly, we've drained the front down tube part of the oiling frame, but we haven't drained the back end, which you do via that drain plug there, which is loosened off. So I can unscrew that with my fingers now, and let it run down the Heath Robinson cardboard shoe into a cleaned up my little oil catch tray. Cleaned up so we can see what colour it is. Hopefully it'll be the same as we found in the front of the down tube. Whether I'll manage to keep this little drain plug without it falling down. Oh. Well, it's out. And there doesn't appear to be any oil. Just the odd drop. Well, I wasn't expecting that. Unless there's a ton of sludge there. So what I might do is, bear with me, and if there's a load of sludge in there and that's never been off before, I might just find a little right-angled probe and we'll have a little dig around in there. I can't believe that there's none in the back end of the tube here. Bear with me, I'll be back. Well, I'll put a bit of wire up there and give it a good prod around, a couple of inches in, and all we're getting is just a few residual drops, so no oil in the back of the frame tube. But that means there's been no oil anywhere. But we didn't get that much out of the sump of the engine, so I'm a bit bemused by that. But anyway, there's nothing in there. There can't be. Obviously we can do a bit of a test a bit later on by putting some oil in the back of the tube and make sure it's all running through, etc., and pretty clean. But for the time being, we'll leave the oil side of it there because she must be pretty drained. And what we'll do now is, because we've got the battery on, as you can see, we'll test the electrics. So we'll just move that out of the way for now, because there's not much coming down there. Right, ignition on then. All right, ignition on. There's no oil pressure warning light on, which there should be, such as tray indicators. Right, so the warning light's on. Left, everything works. So there's bad earths everywhere. Oh, and the right one at the back. So we've got electric. That's a brake light that's on, and I would imagine that's probably the front, because everything's disconnected and therefore the cable is probably at an odd position. With respect to the switch, not sure, but anyway, that's definitely the brake. Oh, there you go, look. Can't tell really. Oh, it's here, look. There you go. It's the rear brake light is on and the switch is working, so that's fine. What we can also test are the lights. No side light at the front, but again, just do your trick. It doesn't look as though we've got any lights. Oh, hang on a minute, I've got to turn the switch to the second position. Duh. That's headlight. So switch in the second position, still no side light. Have we got a tail light? Yes, we have. So it looks like we might have an earthing problem at the front here, perhaps. Yeah. Oh! All of a sudden, we've got something. And actually, the flasher works too. Yeah, I think few connections are probably a bit rusty, etc. Now then, horn should be this side. No, but I would imagine these switches might be a bit corroded. Now then, final test then, where I will put switch back onto the first position. Obviously can't do much without this working properly, otherwise we might damage the engine if we're not sure. Let's see if we get a spark. Yes, I don't know if you saw it. Yep, it's sparking. Let's see if I can capture one for you. Yep, yep, yep. Right, I hope you can see that on camera. Believe it or not, she's sparking. Good God. All right, I'll turn her off for now. And what we'll probably do is leave it there. So we've got the wheels in for rebuild. We're going through the electrics, just testing them out at the moment. We've got spark. Still thinking about doing a start on the engine, but the next thing we'll do is make sure we can get some oil circulating and make sure there's nothing blocked up in that back of that frame tube. But for now, we'll leave it there. We're on our way. The B50 restoration has started at last. I mean, a few other observations. You know, why the harness is stripped, I don't know. And there's quite a lot of tie wraps around. So somebody's been at this previously. But in general, yeah, all original, unrestored. And looking at engine fittings, etc., they've not been mashed up at all. Even the original crossheads on the side cases. Right, yep, we'll leave it there. And got a plan for the next one on this. And I'll see you all again soon. Thanks everybody for your for watching, for your interest, and any comments and subscriptions. See you all again soon. Cheers.